Okay, Craig, so we've gone through the 4 dimensions, and as I promised, we said we'd come back and look at them, yes. Particularly when we were talking about the extroversion and introversion. We talked about the reflective side of you there, and the wanting to get engaged. But particularly we said we'd look at the sensing and intuition, because although you confirmed that sensing was your preference, you noticed that actually you'd reported intuitive.
Yes.
You had an intuitive preference, and you had some outer preferences on that. So what we said, we would link it all together.
Lovely.
So if we look at your overall profile, and if you notice down here, we have a summary of what your profile, what your unique descriptor is, which is an abstract, theoretical, compassionate, accepting, and tender ESTJ.
Mm.
Yes, words in there I wouldn't have necessarily.
If I asked your family,
But to me,
what would they say?
They might say, my wife would probably see all that, but I would have said that most people wouldn't have put all those words together. Especially not the abstract.
Okay.
And the theoretical is a surprise as well.
Okay, should we talk about the theoretical? So we've talked quite a bit about your university days. So if we go back to Craig, the undergraduate engineer, what lectures, what aspects of engineering did you particularly enjoy?
Well, I loved all the aspects, but I suppose thinking back, I did love the theory side to it all. So it was the looking at ideas and concepts from a slightly different angle, looking at all the possibilities and all the different theories that might present themselves. So I think that I can now see, which is why it can now maybe come up here.
Yeah. Okay, so thinking about your MBA now, which is a more recent learning experience for you, did you notice any patterns between the learning on that and previous learning?
I suppose the main difference, although I loved thinking about it, all the theoretical side of things, it was more to do with the people that I was very different when I was studying the MBA.
Okay.
In that I was then willing and open to seeing and listening other people's ideas, points of view, objectives.
Okay. And thinking about those ideas and theories, how keen were you to apply them?
Very keen, actually. I wouldn't have said I would have been.
Yeah.
Because I would have automatically wanted to look at my own ideas and my own theories. But I think that's what comes with a bit of age and a bit of wisdom, is then listening to other people, especially because we were all there doing the same thing. We were all there doing the same course. So of course they're going to have ideas that I should listen to and take into account. Or could listen to.
Yeah. So thinking about the theories, and you've talked about the exploration of the theories with your fellow students, when you came back to the workplace, buzzing with all these new ideas, which were the ones that you were particularly keen to implement?
Well, I suppose it was all to do with the people. Okay. So it was finding out how you can look at your team and you can get other people in maybe to help encourage, to coach, that side of things. So it's using the people management skills that I knew weren't a great strength with me. So that was what I knew I had to learn there, and I did do. And I was very excited about getting back and trying those out. And they work.
Yeah. Great. What about the strategy?
It was all right. Just not as interesting.
Can you see where on your profile some of those links might be that you've talked about there?
Yes, so on the...
Making you do all the hard work
Yeah,
now.
that's all right. So on the initiating, that's something I would come back and definitely initiate to get those into practice. And then we look at the compassionate and the accepting. So the team would then feel that they were being used and listened to. The systematic, planful.
Yeah.
It's all tying in.
Brilliant. The one that you talked about not tying in quite so well was this abstract side of things. When we were talking about sensing and intuition, you felt that you were more driven by data that's concrete, more
Yes.
factual information. And we talked about your type development, which was in the report here, and that intuition was your
Was king.
third.
Yeah.
And that maybe you're at a stage in your life where you're perhaps valuing intuition a bit more, experimenting with it a bit more, integrating it into your personality a bit more.
Definitely.
So if we have a little think about the abstract, you talked about films and books and things like that. What film?
Well, I am now looking at things in a more abstract way.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Well, I'm loving all the Scandinavian stuff.
Okay.
I'm loving the sort of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, those sort of books which I never would have looked at before. Lars von Trier, the filmmaker, Breaking the Waves.
Yeah.
So again, they're all books and films that are left of centre and that are looking at the world in just a slightly different view.
Okay.
Which hasn't been a conscious thing, I don't think. I think it's something that I've just become open up to it.
Yeah.
And so with that I can see in the workplace as well that I am beginning to just open up to looking at things from a slightly different angle.
Okay.
Definitely.
Does that make a bit more sense of that abstract?
It completely does now.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So, have you got any questions before we finally wrap up?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, again, I'm going to make you do the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of having had the discussion, what might you take from our session today in terms of your own development, perhaps areas to work on in the future?
Well, I think I'll take the surprise and the shock of what the report showed up, but also trust that actually it's right and it's right for me. And it's okay to be a bit abstract in my thinking and my viewpoint. So that it's not that I've lost everything that when I initially did MBTI, but that actually it's been improved on, if you like.
So you're still the same person?
I'm still the same person, but hopefully a bit better.
Understanding the shades of grey in this sense.
Yes, in myself, but also in everybody else.
Brilliant. Because when we set up the Step 2 feedback, one of the things that you said you wanted to get out of the session was to understand yourself better and to perhaps explain some of the questions you had about ESTJ as a best fit.
Yes.
And to think about your own development.
Yes. And that has. This has answered those.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.